Good morning, my dear students, and a very warm welcome to all of you in this e-learning program that is organized by Shri Kanmancha Vidyapit. Welcome to Science by Harsha ma'am. I hope you all remember that we are doing this lesson, which is chapter number 3, atoms and molecules. Let us have a quick look at whatever part we have done up till the last lecture. Try to recall what we started with. We started with the basic thing, that is the history of the atoms. The basic idea of divisibility was given by this particular personality, that is Maharshi Karnad. He said that any padarth, when we go on dividing, the smallest thing which we get is the Parmanu. That was said by Maharshi Karnad. Then came Pakuda Katyayan, who said that particles are generally existing in the combined form. Then next was Democritus and Leucippus, who stated that any element is basically made up of, or any matter is made up of, the smallest indivisible particle, which are called as atoms. And this is how the history is saying about the great contribution of this people in giving the explanation about what the atom is. Then came Lavoisier, who laid the foundation of chemical science by establishing two important laws, which are the laws of chemical combination, which is the law of conservation of mass, law of constant proportion, and law of multiple proportion, which is one of the Dalton postulate. Let us now first understand about the law of conservation of mass. Try to recall about the law of conservation of mass. It states that mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. Total amount of mass in any chemical reaction will remain same. There will be no alterations in it. Then there will be no change in the quantity of any particular matter. This is a major important point, and that is only the law of conservation of mass. Another way in which it can be stated is the total mass of the reactants is always equal to the total mass of products. That is, mass is conserved. Then comes the next particular thing, which is the reactants and the products. So, in any chemical reaction, those substances which combine or react with each other, they are called as reactants, while those new products, which are new substances which are formed, are called as products. Then came the example, which is calcium oxide and water. It gives calcium hydroxide. You can write in this way, H2 plus O, 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. Any example and any number of mass you can mention. Then we discussed about the important law, which is law of constant proportion. What did the law of constant proportion states? It states that in any chemical compound, the elements are combining in a fixed proportion by mass. Same proportion. So one of the very important part, for example, CNO, carbon and oxygen, in carbon dioxide, they are in the ratio of 3:8. Well, like, you have to keep these things in mind. The next particular thing, which is, this is also called as Proust law, because it was Joseph Louis Proust who gave this law. And here is the explanation of it, and the examples of it are very important. Okay, any of the example can come in exam. You have to be ready for it. So I hope you have read the examples. Next important thing, which we have already discussed, that is the law of multiple proportion. What does the law of multiple proportion states now? Law of multiple proportion states that different elements can combine in different ratios and they can form different compounds. For example, carbon and oxygen, they can form carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. Hydrogen and oxygen, water H2O or hydrogen peroxide H2O2. We also discussed how 5 compounds from nitrogen were formed when oxygen was taken in the ratio 1 is to 2 is to 3 is to 4 is to 5. Yes, different oxides are formed. Not only oxides, many various different compounds are formed when the elements are taken in different ratios, and that is the law of multiple proportion. Moving to the next particular part, that is our last lecture's content, which is the Dalton's atomic theory. If we talk about this particular personality, which is John Dalton, then he was a meteorologist, a physicist, and a pioneer in the development of the atomic theory, and he had made a great research on color blindness. This personality, Dalton's atomic theory, is very important one, and the main postulates of it are over here. That is, we have already done. Read all the 6 postulates, then we'll discuss its merits and demerits. Quickly, just read it. There are 6 postulates. You'll take it at minimum 2 minutes. Read it peacefully because it is important theory. So I hope you have read the postulates. Next important point is about the merits and demerits, that is the drawbacks of Dalton's atomic theory. If we talk about the merits of Dalton's atomic theory, then what are the plus points of his atomic theory? He could explain the laws of chemical combination, all the 3 laws: law of conservation of mass, law of constant proportion, and law of multiple proportion. Don't get confused. In example, if example of chemical combination comes, then write all the 3. Don't worry. Then comes the first one, who could distinguish between an atom and a molecule. So these 2 things are different things that was explained by this personality, that is John Dalton. Coming to the demerits, that is the negative, or you can say the drawbacks of the Dalton's atomic theory. What are the drawbacks of Dalton's atomic theory now? The very first one was he stated that atoms are indestructible. That means whenever you go on dividing matter, at the last you will end up two atoms. Atoms are further divided into electrons, protons and neutrons. Next thing was he stated that atoms of same element are having same atomic mass. So in case of isotopes, this wasn't uh, considered correct, and in case of isobars, the postulate that atoms of different elements have different atomic mass was not true. So this is how, in case of isotopes and in case of isobars, this particular postulate couldn't explain, couldn't be explained. Coming to the next particular topic, which is what is an atom? Actually, you are learning so many things about atom. How much small atom is कि उसकी डिस्कवरी के लिए इतनी सारी चीज़ें हुई. It is so small. We cannot see it with our naked eye. That is okay, but even with the help of microscope, we cannot see it. You require a special microscope, which is scanning tunneling microscope, STM. Do remember the full form. In order to observe any particular atom, we need this microscope, which is scanning tunneling microscope. Now, let us move further on the concept of the smallest part, that is the atom. What is the meaning of this word, which is atom? Here it is. Atoms are actually the building blocks of matter. Any matter is always formed up of atoms. If I talk about what is an atom, then you have already started. Was Indian philosopher in the beginning who mentioned about the atoms in his philosophy, and here it is. It is the smallest particle, which of one of the smallest particle of matter that takes part in the chemical reaction. Okay, so one of the major important part is the definition of atom. Next is how big are atoms. For that, I need to explain you one statement which is given in your book. The statement given in your book is this: 1 teaspoon of water. Okay, the statement which we are going to understand is 1 teaspoon of water, that is about 1 ml. It contains about 3 times as many atoms as Atlantic Ocean contains teaspoons of water. Read this statement and uh, just read it and try to think what it is trying to explain. Then I will explain you this statement and then you will come to know how much big the atom is. Okay, read it, only read it. Just read it. What is the statement? Statement is like this. 1 teaspoon of water contains about 3 times as many atoms as Atlantic Ocean contains teaspoon of water. मतलब कि let me explain you. Atlantic Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, if we measure its total water with the help of a teaspoon, just think, whole of the ocean's water we are finding out and we are getting some number of n teaspoons which can fill whole of the Atlantic Ocean. First of all, it is not possible only, but yet try to think about the importance of the smallness of the atom. Suppose there are n teaspoons which are required to fill the whole Atlantic Ocean. Multiply it by 3. Then the number which you get, that many number of atoms are present in just 1 teaspoon of water. Isn't this like Hyla concept? Just think, 1 teaspoon of water. Okay, उसमें जितने नंबर ऑफ एटम्स है वो कितने हैं? एटलांटिक ओशन में जितना पानी है, अगर उस पानी को हम चम्मच से निकाले, वैसे तो हम लोग कैसे निकालने नहीं वाले हैं, बट if we are measuring the amount of water in terms of teaspoon in the Atlantic Ocean, then as many number of teaspoons we will require. When we multiply it by 3, then that many number of atoms are present in just 1 teaspoon of water. With this you can understand how much big an atom is. Okay, so I hope you are clear on how much big the atom is. This much. Atoms are very small. They are smaller than anything which you can even think. Atomic radius is measured in nanometers. One of the important point regarding the nanometer, let me discuss it with you. One of the scale is this nanometer, which is used for observing the particles. 1 nanometer is 10 raised to minus 9 meter. Nano stands for 10 to the power minus 9. Right now the developing field is this nano field. Just imagine a very big revolutions have come in case of nanometer. Many of you might be knowing about the nano straw. Yes, one of the nano straw. If you don't know, just search it on the Google, you will come to know about the nano straw. It is also called as purification straw. One of the growing branch, that is the nanoscience. Purification straw. What is that straw? It is like it is a straw, like whichever type of water it is. कितना भी गंदा पानी क्यों ना हो, you can just drink it with that straw because it is containing that filters. Okay, so like even the dirtiest water can be drank properly, like from the safe side, because it is containing that many number of filters in a very small straw. Yes, you can check it out on internet, even it is available on many at many places. So this is what is I'm not talking about straw right now. I'm talking about this field, which is nano field. At a very great level, this field is developing. So just search it out right now. I'm waiting. Okay, just for 1 minute, I'm giving you, just search about this purification straw. You will see and just go to the images. You will see that the image of children even drinking dirty waters with the help of this straw. Just go on the Google and type purification straw and check it out. Check out its images. You will see the different filters. See it, I'm waiting for 1 minute. See it. Your 1 minute is over. So I hope that you saw it. The only reason is just that I wanted to, uh, I'm not doing the like dealing or anything of this particular thing, but I'm just telling you about the importance of this particular word, nanometer. Whole of the nanoscience, it is something which is beyond our thinking level also. Uh, the purification straw will come soon in trend, and the day is not far when the mothers will be saying to their children. Nowadays, like when you were coming to school, during those days, your mother used to tell you, "Beti, you have taken the water bottle and lunch box," and she is generally giving the reminder. So the day is not far when the mothers will be saying, "Bete, you've taken the purification straw. You have taken the straw with which you will drink the water." So you can drink any type of water. This is one of the example, one of the very small example of nanometer. Then what are the big, uh, you know, when we come to the word technology, it is growing to a very great speed. So we need to be forward as far as the technology is concerned. So let's come back to our topic, atom. This much small the atom is. Okay. Note down this part. Then there are some of the important things regarding the atoms that also we'll study. Please note down this. I hope you have noted down this. Note down this nanometer. Quick. I hope you have noted these 2 points. Scanning tunneling microscope to see atom, and the next one, how big atom is. Note down quick. Give the heading how big the atom is. I hope you have noted down that. In that only note down these 2 things. Be quick. I hope you have noted down this content. Moving to the next part, which is the relative sizes of the various things. Here are the relative size of various things. 10 raised to minus 10 meter is the size of hydrogen atom. This is in meter. In nanometer it will be 0.1. Molecule of water, it is of 1 nanometer, which is 10 raised to minus 9. Molecule of hemoglobin, our blood, 10 raised to minus 8. That means 10 nanometer. The grain of sand, 10 raised to minus 4. Ant, 10 raised to minus 2. Watermelon, that is of 10 raised to minus 1. This is how the sizes are differing. Okay? Note down this content, then we'll move further on the characteristics of atoms. Be quick. Give the heading. You don't have to learn this. Only hydrogen atom ka you can learn. Otherwise, it's not necessary. Be quick. Last few seconds, then we'll move further on the next particular topic. Coming to the next part, which is the characteristics of atoms. Here are the characteristics. Let us understand what are the characteristics of atoms. They are very easy. The very first one is atom is the smallest particle of matter. Any element, it is made up of tiny particles which are called as atoms. Atoms are very small in size. They cannot be seen through naked eye. And in order to see them, we need the microscope, which is scanning tunneling microscope. Atom never exists in free state in nature. Yes, this is a major important point. Now, how does the atom exist in nature? Atom is existing in the two forms in nature. Either it is existing in the form of molecule either in the form of a molecule or in the form of ions. Atom generally exists in these two states. Yes, there are few atoms which are existing in free states, but they are very few in number and they are the least reactive ones, which you can see at last in the periodic table. And if you know a little bit about the periodic table, you can observe the last part, the last group, okay, helium, neon, krypton, xenon, and argon and radon, the inert gases which are existing in the free state. They don't combine with anyone. But yes, other elements they combine. So in the form of molecules or in the form of ions, atom is existing. Those sometimes atoms which are forming ions, they combine together and they are forming ionic compounds. So what is ionic compound? Let me give you one example. Suppose sodium and chlorine, NaCl, the one that you are eating daily. Sodium, it will lose its one electron and become positively charged. Chlorine will take that one electron and will become negatively charged, and these two will combine together and they will form the compound which is NaCl, which is safe to eat. So, this is how an atom can also exist in the form of ions. In the form of molecule, you already know you are inhaling no oxygen, nitrogen, they are diatomic gases. Coming to this part, uh, in the form of ions. So, this is how do atoms occur? Or exist. They exist in the following form: in the form of the molecule or in the form of ions. And this is one of the example of ionic compound. Sodium is losing its one electron, chlorine will take that electron, and in the form of ions, when they are combining together, you get ionic compounds. So this is how does the atom occur. Note down these important parameters, especially these ionic compounds. Be quick, note it down. So I hope you have noted down this content. Now let's move further. So how are the atom existing? Next is properties of the matter will depend upon the characteristics of atoms. Yes, how that you have studied in chapter number 1, that is when we were doing about the matter, you know that solids, the atoms are tightly packed, while in liquid they are loosely packed, while in gases they are like very far off, and that's the reason melting point or boiling point of any solid substance is very high. That is because of this characteristic of atom. So all the properties of the matter will depend on the characteristics of atom, that is how the atoms are arranged. Even some of the atoms, they lose electron. Then they are metals, some of the elements, they gain electrons. Then they are non-metals. So this is how even the properties can be defined on just the basic properties of atoms. Moving to the next part, atoms are the building block of the element, which is similar to the brick which is combined together to make a building. The size of the atom is indicated by its radius, and in ancient times it was considered indivisible. These are the very important characteristics or points regarding the atom, and right now you have to note down this characteristics. Be quick. So I hope you have noted down the content. Let us have a quick look at whatever part we have done. We started with what is an atom. Atom can be defined as the smallest particle of the matter that takes part in any chemical reaction. How big the atoms are, as we discussed when we were discussing regarding this part, that is 1 teaspoon of water contains about 3 times as many atoms as Atlantic Ocean is containing the teaspoons of water, and that much big atom is. So I hope you are clear with the content, that how much small the atom is. Moving to the next part, that is we saw the various sizes of the various materials Okay, here it is, the atom of hydrogen, which is having 10 raised to minus 10 radii, molecule of water 10 to the power minus 9, hemoglobin 10 to the power minus 8, grain of the seed 10 raised to minus 4, ant of 10 raised to the power minus 2, and watermelon of 10 to the power minus 1. The next we saw was the characteristics of atom. Atom is the smallest particle of matter. It is all the elements are made up of tiny particles which are called as atoms. They are very small in size and you cannot see them through naked eye. You need special microscopes, that is scanning tunneling microscope or atomic force microscope. AFM is also another option. Atoms don't exist in free state, then how do they occur? They occur in two parts, which are those either in the form of molecules or in the form of ions. The last slide contains about. So this is the way they are existing. And what is an ionic compound? Whenever any of the element, it will lose electron, it will become positively charged. Another element which will gain electron will become negatively charged, and when these two charged species will combine, what will we get? We will get the ionic compounds. So in this way they are existing. And as I said, in the 18th group there is a list of some of the metals which are found in the free state, and they are over here. The 18th group helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. So these are the elements which are existing in the free states. The last group of the periodic table. Okay, I hope you are clear. Note down even the name of the elements which are existing in the free state. You can write these are the inert elements which generally don't occur in the combined form. Okay, please note down these names. I hope you will remember helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. Be quick, just few names are there. I hope you have written it down. So that is about how they are existing. Then atom is the building block of matter and they are similar to the brick that will combine together which will make the building. Properties of the matter will depend upon the characteristics of atoms and size is indicated by its radius. So I hope you are clear with the content that has been done today. Thank you so much for listening to me and have a very good day. We'll move further on the next particular topic in our next session. Bye bye and have a good day. Bye.